Carlo Ancelotti, Vinny Jr., Ballon d'Or, Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, RemoNADA, closed roof, 90 minutes at the Bernabeu is very long. Oh, Mikel Merino. Oh, Mikel Merino.
I'm here for all of this, man.
What's happening, people, and welcome back to the Tiki Taka podcast, where you're going to hear hot takes, unbiased opinions, and hopefully have a couple laughs along the way. And as you can already tell, we know what we're talking about this week. There's been a photo change on the desk. I had to bring the boy back.
Be astute. Keep your eyes open.
Sakanelli. We're back. And look, don't worry, guys. This isn't just going to be a Champions League show until the end of the season. Because guys are asking, are you going to talk about Premier League? Are you going to talk about Liverpool winning the league? Next week, there's no European football. So we'll be back. We'll have a roundup of, obviously, Tottenham held 4 at Wolves. Chelsea drew at Ipswich. Guys want to hear what we have to say. We're not going to have that today. But by the time you see us next, Tottenham could be 17th. So hold on that. Man United could be 16th. We'll see. Next week, we'll be back with that. Quickly, before we start, though, I do just want to say, I haven't actually told Michael yet, but we hit over 1,000 Spotify plays.
Yo!
Yeah. 1,000.
1,000.
Big
love from the fans. We appreciate that.
Exactly. So I just wanted to give a shout out to everyone that's shown any sort of support.
Wow, that's big, 100%.
Whether that's subscribing, whether that's listening, anything. 1,000 Spotify plays. We appreciate
it.
And yeah, look, we've been consistent. We keep churning out the content, and this is going to be a good one today.
Yeah.
Not only is it bank holiday, not only have we got the Jack Daniels,
yeah,
not only is my boy back on the desk. I told you, man, Martinelli goals,
they do something.
They hit different. So we're gonna start. Of course, we're gonna start with Arsenal winning at the Bernabeu. Not just winning at the Bernabeu, beating Real Madrid 5-1 on aggregate. Jude Bellingham.
White flag's been raised.
Ballon d'Or. But last week, I chose where we were going to start. This week, I'm going to let you choose. There's a player, if there's tactics, if maybe you want to start with the Real Madrid side of things. I don't know.
Actually, I will. I thank you for reminding me, because I was thinking about this on my drive from work today. I was like, I'm actually a Madrid fan. Like, I've actually been supporting Madrid for a long time. You know, I love the dark energy that they bring to football. I love the fact that everybody hates them, X, Y, and Z.
Los Blancos.
A merengue. Consider myself a merengue. Hey.
We'll talk about this guy.
But obviously, I love Arsenal 10 times more. I don't even know what's going on. My iPad just started playing rain sounds.
I was wondering where I was hearing that from.
But obviously, I love Arsenal more than I love Madrid. I'm putting that on record. But it's funny for me. I think that's where I'll start. Is my not even confliction, because I'm happy. I'm more happy that Arsenal have gone through than anything. Yeah, but it's funny for me to see what Arsenal has done to my other club. Everything in totality. Open season on Jude. Open season on Vinny. Open season on Mbappe. Everybody is now like dramatically come to the conclusion that Real Madrid are just not at it. Not at the races this year. Like a week ago, before the first leg, Real Madrid won for a treble.
Reports came out today that Carlo will probably get sacked before the end of the season.
So I think a lot of the guys I'm going to talk about today, I genuinely respect, love, support, and all the rest of it, yeah. But the schooling over 2 legs that Arsenal, Arteta, and those that followed the team put on Real Madrid. I think I'll actually start, because we're going to come on to the Arsenal love, with Carlo, the opposition manager, because I think he got it so wrong. And I think it's like almost either Arteta's so good, like so good, or obviously Arteta's a very good manager, but Carlo, I don't know if it was underestimated, I don't know if it was what, but just like tactically got it wrong. Because I was telling my bro, I was saying to you before the first leg, he can't start Modric. He can't play Alaba at left back.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the two things I was saying. before the first leg, and then the team sheet, I see Modric and Alaba at left back. Yeah. Saka cooks. Modric gets run out the park in the first leg. We know what happened. We did the pod, sort of see last week. Then in this game, obviously there was like huge questions over what's going to change. Is Fede going to come back into midfield? Essentially, you had to go for it. You're down by 3. You have to score early. He has to go for it type thing. Yeah. And I actually probably would have started Modric in this game, and I don't know for who. Okay. I actually don't think that Fede in midfield worked, and that wasn't the issue. That wasn't why they lost. I just thought that Madrid didn't really stick it on us. If I was to watch that game back without the emotion and the biasness as an Arsenal fan, I would think that they didn't really stick it on us.
That's what most people said.
That they didn't
Their
really.
Their first shot on target was Rodrigo's corner.
Yeah, in the second half.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think they had the ability to sustain attacks. I also don't think that they understood how, I don't know, the whole crossing thing that Madrid were doing. I don't necessarily understand how they didn't think that we were capable of dealing with it, or that was our, was our, or that was somehow going to be a weakness for us.
Yeah.
You don't really have a big man striker or anybody of like notable aerial presence. Yeah.
But that's like that point in particular has been spoken about a lot, about the crossing thing. And I guess this ties into the overall conversation about tactically between the two managers. I don't know if that was Carlo's plan.
Tactic.
Right, to go, but we know Arteta's shape. We know what Arteta works on. Force them wide. The Man City game when we went down to 10 men was a massive example of that. Crowd the middle. Mourinho was basically playing as a striker when we have the ball and playing as like a third, fourth midfielder. Right, just block it in the middle, send them wide. And I don't know if that was Carlo's tactic, or if it's just at some point the players on the pitch need to realize, well, I've just crossed this ball 4 or 5 times.
So that's why I would have played Modric. Because I don't really think that they had much control over their own possession, in the sense of like, was it cutting passes? Was it tricky stuff in between us? If like, they didn't really have much success going through us, and Arsenal did very well. Arteta did very well in making sure that they forced us wide, but they also didn't like knock down the door and trying to play through us. It was almost as if they'd accepted before the game had started, we're not going to go through these guys. And that we're happy to.
Well, look, I'll take any chance to mention him, but this man here, guys are calling him the glue of that Real Madrid team. Potentially the most important piece.
Yeah.
Potentially the midfield player that can do what none of the current midfield players can do, other than maybe Modric, of course.
Yeah.
Still, I think there may be different players.
Of course, there are levels to
right?
it. And Modric is just the closest thing they have to it.
Yeah.
Cruz is the best.
And that what you're saying about pushing passes through midfield rather than going wide, maybe. And also that there was never really, even like with the emotions that we had as an Arsenal fan, there was never really a point in the game where I thought Madrid are really sticking it on us here. Right? And like you say, recycling the ball, keeping, sustaining attacks. That's Toni Kroos's memorandum, right? That's what he does. Recycle the ball, keep guys penned in, pick players out between the lines.
So this is why I'm shocked about the Carlo thing, was because I rate Carlo so much. I have so much respect for Carlo. We all know what he's done in the game type stuff. I thought, and I know Carlo's like school of management is different from this new guard of Arteta and Hansi Flick and these kind of new coaches. But it was crazy for me to see the gulf over these two legs of what Arteta's on and what Carlo's on, and even down to the players, like Saka being an Arteta winger and what that looks like versus, and it's not that Carlo he's at Madrid, so he can't necessarily choose the players that he buys, but the players that Madrid buy and tell Carlo to work with, it's like, bro, Saka's more than willing to track back, Martinelli's more than willing to track back, and obviously still has the same onus of decide the game for us. But another reason why we were so tactically superior is because Arteta doesn't allow these passengers in his team.
100%.
He doesn't allow, no matter the quality, he doesn't allow passengers in the team, because if 2 or 3 guys aren't bought in, the whole thing will never work. My whole press and stuff that I do, my half, my low block, my mid block, all of my multifaceted dimensions don't work.
None of it will work
unless it's complete and total buy-in. And so Arteta needs wingers that will do all of that kind of stuff.
I mean, Thierry Henry said that was the best part of Saka's game yesterday was.
And I think if
he was working back.
If you're a manager, you can appreciate it.
Of course, yeah.
And I think like a lot of now coming towards sort of Arsenal's success is, I think Arteta did realize that and recognize that, watching tape, watching all this kind of stuff, that they have 3 players that aren't going to run backwards anyway.
It's I used to say about PSG, right? In the PSG team that they have, that like, I just don't think you can win the Champions League if you defend with 7 players.
Not if the other team is defending with 11.
Yeah, which most teams, you're going to come up against a team that plays that way, right? Because of how modern football's going. I mean, you look at the coaches in the semi-finals, Inzaghi, Arteta, Flick, and who's the other one?
Enrique.
Right? And we see what Enrique's done with
and
PSG.
Shout out to Enrique,
right?
though.
Yeah, for sure. But those are 4 managers who all will have every single player in their team work their absolute socks off.
Yeah.
So at some point, you're going to buck one of those guys. Where I will give Carlo some defense is that we're talking about it now, but this is just what's worked for Carlo.
Exactly.
So as much as like we can, and that's where I actually think Mikel Arteta
deserves his praise. Yeah, his praise and his credit.
Because this is something that's worked for Carlo. Like, I always remember Maya was saying that Carlo's the economy will regulate itself manager. Like, Carlo, you were telling me last year how Madrid were playing, and it was like Jude, and Fede, and Tchouaméni, and Vinny, and Rodrigo, and they were all on the pitch. Joselu and Cruz and Modric and Camara at left back. It was nuts, yeah. And that's just Carlo's thing. Carlo, he's won multiple Champions Leagues. He's one of the greatest managers ever. There's actually a thing now where I'm like, and guys who aren't Arsenal fans, they probably won't even watch this, so it's fine.
It's fine.
I do actually think that, like, and I thought it before, but obviously when you do something like this, it amplifies that. I think Mikel Arteta he is a bit of a special manager.
He is a bit of a special manager. Much I'll say.
I think he is a bit of like I don't want to say one of one, because obviously there's still stuff for Mikel to do, and there's still stuff for him to prove and whatnot. But when you beat Real Madrid 5-1 on aggregate, you beat them home and you beat them away,
and you don't have your best team,
right? And as much as Madrid didn't have, like, you're talking about Alaba, I think almost nobody's come out of this tie with more credit than Ferland Mendy.
I told you about Ferland. I don't want to see Ferland Mendy.
Right?
In the big games,
but it wasn't me.
He just does his job.
I was telling you that Real Madrid fans get onto it. Right? And Real Madrid fans still do. I'm sure, like...
and we saw Fran Garcia when he came on.
Yeah. Which is why I think Carlo had to play Alaba. Because we saw what Fran Garcia was on. But yeah, I just think that Mikel got everything spot on in that first leg. He then got everything spot on in that second leg, with the lineup, with the team selection. Obviously, the players have to go out there and do that. But I mean, Declan Rice said that after the game, right? We all believe in this manager. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, and so that's the thing, to give Arteta his credit, is we've heard it all the time about how Arteta literally maps out the game for players in each position, down to the T, down to every action. This is going to happen, so you need to do this. This is going to happen, so you need to do this. The credit that Arteta has in the bank for the players must be immense, just for like consistently always getting it right. Yeah. But I was going to say, just lastly on the Carlo thing, another reason why I can't blame Carlo too much as I'm getting onto him for getting it wrong, I know Carlo can't do the Arteta system.
Yeah.
And he knows that.
And not because of Carlo.
Exactly.
Because of the players.
Because of the players. Yeah. He can't convince all 3 of those guys that, you know, Rodrigo and Vinny, I need you. When Martinelli's going forward, I need you to double back, and I need you to be right there next to Fran Garcia, or right there next to whoever it is, Vasquez.
You can't tell Vinny that you're going to have to spend most of the game helping out Alaba.
Vinny doesn't want to hear that.
Right?
He's not trying to hear that.
I was having a conversation with my dad, like, we've spoken about it. On slot, let Salah just chill. Yeah, you stayed there. And it works because Salah's efficient, but it also works because he's the only one.
I was going to say...
And everybody else will run for Salah.
At max, it's a 2-man step.
Yeah,
at max.
And you have to have physical monsters.
Exactly, to make up for it. Yeah. Exactly, to make up for it. So that's the Carlo thing done, where despite despite the injuries and stuff, it was still crazy to see that even after the first leg, us being 3-0 up, Carlo didn't change too much about how they played or how they were set up or what the players were going to do, or telling Vinny or Mbappe that this game you all have to run 7-10K each if you want to get 3 goals. Yeah, the fact that the team seemed pretty, almost like they believed their own hype on the remontada thing of like it's just gonna happen somehow.
Yeah.
Without actually outrunning us. I don't think you can score 3 goals versus Arsenal without outrunning us, out toughing us, being physical, out muscling us, which is tough to do anyway. Yeah, but the fact that element of the game wasn't really there, only Rudiger had it for Real Madrid of like wanting to actually physically crunch into guys. Alaba had it, to be fair, at the beginning, and then he got booked, so he couldn't do it again.
Bellingham was just acting like a scumbag.
Yeah. All that, and that's like the Guendouzi stuff where it's like the ball's already out of play and it's off the pitch, and now you want to throw him down. But on the pitch, he's moving past you. He's gliding. Yeah. So I thought it was interesting to see that nothing's going to change from Carlo from that perspective, or the team from that perspective. Whereas from Arteta, it's like we haven't even played identical games from over the first leg and the second leg. It's been semi-different, but
there was very much emphasis on, and Arteta had been telling us this, so maybe we should have known, but there was an emphasis of like we're coming here to win the game.
Yeah, 100%.
We're not here to like shut up shop, sit deep, let you have the ball. Like, I know the possession stats, Madrid had most of the possession, but we played different to how we played in the first leg, but there was still, whenever we would always try and press high, we'd always try and win the ball back high up.
Yeah.
And I think that was potentially the right, obviously it worked out, but it was the right attitude to go with. But because we're on the Madrid stuff, there is one person to talk about. Well, there's multiple people to talk about. But for me, there's one person to talk about because Kylian Mbappe left PSG, right? And a lot of people accused him of running from the grind.
To add on to that, potentially interesting that Enrique obviously had that talk with him. I need you to be this guy, team player. Has Mbappe thought, and this is me putting words in his mouth, I can go be myself at Madrid because Carlo's not going to ask me to track back. Carlo's not going to ask me to.
Now, the mad thing is that Mbappe obviously, like they say, the worst kept secret in world football. He was teasing the move to Real Madrid for so long. Flo Perez was on the tap up, and the year before he left, I think that was the year Man City won the treble. They won the Champions League, and they beat Real Madrid in the semis or whatever. Real Madrid needed Mbappe at that point, right, to go and win the Champions League, to go and be a better team, to go and move on. Real Madrid last year, after Mbappe declined the contract, the PSG owner gave Mbappe basically the keys to Paris, keys to the club. Sign whoever you want.
Macron was there. Macron was calling him.
Choose the formation, choose the tactics. Yeah, right. Do everything. This is your club.
Randall Colon one, my boy.
Bring all your French boys.
100 mil, Randall.
Yeah. Bring all the French boys here. And then Madrid go and win the Champions League with Hosselu. So now it becomes a situation of, well, Mbappe needs Madrid more than Madrid maybe need Mbappe. And the situation changes from the previous year. So it happens, it goes through and Mbappe goes there. Now, we've spoken about Mbappe. We spoke about Mbappe earlier in the season. We were like, well, can Mbappe really flop? Of course he can't.
Yeah.
Because he's a top player. Yeah. And I still have that opinion, right?
Yeah.
He scored 30 goals or whatever. I'm not saying that Madrid have been knocked out because of Mbappe. I'm not saying that they won't win the league because of Mbappe. But this whole saga and the move to Real Madrid, guys were saying that there's not been more pressure on a player who's made a transfer move than Mbappe. Guys are saying Ronaldo didn't have this much pressure when he went to Real Madrid, Bale, whoever else, right?
Yeah.
All these guys, Neymar, when he goes to PSG, they're saying that there's not been more pressure on a guy to deliver than Kylian Mbappe going to Real Madrid. And he wasn't the only one. Like I said, Vinny, Jude, they all were poor. But because of this transfer, I feel like Mbappe's got everybody was looking at him before these 2 legs, and specifically before this game yesterday, as this is the one you need to turn up in, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, 100%. This is like essentially what they brought him for. These kind of games I didn't even buy him, sorry. Essentially what they brought him in for was to define these big games, these big Champions League nights. You're going to be our star guy moving forward. It should have been a night, because it should have been a night where Mbappe got 2 goals, but they went out. Yeah. But Mbappe did everything he could. He left it all out there. He was obviously the best player, and LeBron was dropping 40, 50, but we're going in an elimination game. We're still going out because the other team's better, but I've dropped 50 because I've done everything, and I put this team on my back type moments.
100%.
Yeah,
we can't say it's you haven't done your job.
Yeah. You leave the field.
Yeah,
but and I mean, look, and this is why I said I started off the pod by saying it's crazy to see what Arsenal have done to my other team, because I was on the other side I was on the Mbappe. Like, look, he's got 30 goals, he's bedding in, and all this kind of stuff.
Vinny Ballon d'Or charges.
The lack of goals in this tie is so damning, or the lack of even threat. Chance creation in this tie is so damning to the Real Madrid players, Mbappe, Vinny, and all these guys included, because that was your strong suit. Yeah, that was what you were known for. That's what Madrid are built on. That's what the whole RemoNADA premise was on. So for that to never materialize really in any way calls everything into question.
Yeah.
And I don't think Mbappe right now has much room or leg to stand on the whole, have Madrid gotten worse? Have they signed the best player in the world and become a worse team? Right now, as it stands, he doesn't have much leg to stand on, because last year they did the double. And last year it looked
100%.
beautiful. Last year it was a two-man step.
The team he left.
Yeah, and now balling. And it's even worse.
What are they going to do?
They're unbeaten in the league.
Are they?
They're unbeaten.
Even know that. I didn't even
They've literally not even lost a single game.
And could they... Mbappe's never won the Champions League. He's gone to Real Madrid in search of the Champions League.
Yeah, could they go and win it the year he leaves? Dembele's the guy.
Don't let PSG win it.
Dembele's the guy in France now. Dembele's Paris.
Boys.
When you used to get the love in Paris, now it's Dembele getting the love in Paris.
Don't let that happen. Don't let that happen. And I want to make it clear, it's not all Mbappe's fault.
It's not.
There's other superstars in their team or whatever, but because of the transfer, because like Vinny, he's won his Champions League.
Yeah,
he scored in the final. He's won two. He scored in two finals. Vinny's he's put his work in. Jude came. He won last year.
Vinny's been a part of the understudy. He was the understudy when Kareem won the Ballon d'Or, and also the main man when last year. In the two-man step with him and Jude, and Jude's the understudy.
Exactly. So Jude stepped in. Jude's won his. We know what Rodrigo's done. Right. So there is more emphasis on Kylian Mbappe to step up.
I literally think the only thing about the Mbappe discussion is coming into next season, they have to do the whole LeBron, Chris Bosh, D Wade. Like we've been doing this all wrong.
So is that what they do? Yeah, we change it up. We've been looking at it wrong.
Yeah,
they're talking about Jurgen Klopp. Or do they blow it up? Blow it up? And Rodrigo
exactly.
Rodrigo's the most susceptible.
So that's a good point, because two things. I think Mbappe has to decide his position. Yeah, if you're a striker, you're a striker. If you're a winger, you're a winger. Yeah. If Mbappe says that he's a winger, I
just don't think he can be a winger.
I think
in that team
you move. I actually think that it's tough. And
don't tell me you're gonna move Vinny.
I think you move Vinny.
No, bro.
Because I still think
you can't move the best left winger in the world.
But that's the thing is, I agree that Vinny's the best left winger in the world for the past 18 months or whatever. Yeah, but maybe
he wasn't the best left winger on the pitch though.
Yeah, but for the past last season, and Vinny's done his thing.
Yeah. I don't think you can move that guy, man.
But I also can't discredit that everything Mbappe's done.
Mbappe's best position is probably from the left.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Exactly. Everything he's done has been from the left.
But I don't think you can shift Vinny.
Man. So we've seen now. We've had a season of Mbappe.
Mbappe needs to learn to play on the right.
So
that's how it works. Because it's disrespectful to move Vinny.
No, but I think Vinny's game
more translates on that side for sure. But it's disrespectful.
Mbappe is not the stand-up like
run down the line. Yeah. Bro, I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, on paper it works, but I just think it's too disrespectful to tell Vinny.
And I agree, but that's the LeBron, Chris Bosh. Someone has to.
But it was Chris Bosh.
Someone has
Chris
to
Bosh who got moved to the 4,
and D Wade had to say this is LeBron's team. Yeah. D-Wade had to come back and say next year, this is LeBron's team. LeBron.
So that's what Vinny's got to do then.
Well, between the two of them.
Vinny can't do that though.
Between the two of them, I'm just saying I would give it to Mbappe. Yeah. And it's Vinny's team. It's been Vinny's team. Yeah. For everything you've said, I just think that when he's on it, Mbappe is the best in the world. Yeah. If you put him in we saw everything he's done over the
probably. But that's very close though.
It's very close. Yeah. It's very, very, very close. And then I lean more to because Vinny's game translates. He can put balls in the box and beat his man and still score goals and everything. But
I can see Vinny throwing tantrums having to play on the right.
Huge tantrums.
Yeah.
So that's but I think from Real Madrid to overcome this, those decisions have to be made by the players. Like Mbappe has to decide, am I a striker? If I'm a striker, maybe we will try it differently and Rodrigo can stay. If I'm not a striker, I'm a winger, go to the wing, let Rodrigo go buy a striker.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think Mbappe's a striker.
He doesn't look like it.
I don't know. Maybe it's difficult to say. Like, I think he can play there, but it's a bit like, and obviously they're completely different level players. So I don't want people to take this and run with it. Yeah, but you know what I always say about Aubameyang?
Yeah,
right. And how I never used to like Aubameyang
down the middle
up in certain games.
Yeah.
Right? In certain games it was calm, he could do that, but in certain games away from home maybe, and it's a Tarkowski and a Branthwaite, whatever kind of defense it is. Put Aubameyang on the left because he can be just as lethal, just as clinical, and he doesn't have to get involved
in the heading and
exactly.
Right, through the backs. Yeah.
Mbappe, I think, is similar to that. So you can't, but if, like you're saying, there's gonna have to come a point where Mbappe decides, what are you, right? So
it's this summer. Yeah, that's the point. If it doesn't happen this summer,
so if he decides that he's a left winger, right, and Vinny moves to the other side, then Rodrigo's up for sale. Then it's a case of blowing it up, right? Because now, to me, selling a guy like Rodrigo is blowing it up.
Oh yeah.
Right? As much as he wasn't great in these games, but if he decides he's gonna be a striker, I think Mbappe has to
learn a lot.
Yeah, he has to just
learn a lot.
Yeah, and that sounds mad coming from two guys sitting on the
all of the goals he scored. He has to learn a lot.
Right? But in terms of just like, maybe not learn a lot, but maybe I feel like there just needs to be a bit more. And again, I can't really say this guy scored a hat-trick in a World Cup final, but a bit more dog of like, yeah, I'll scrap for this and I'll get up for that.
But I think strikers have been bred to do that their whole career. Yeah, feed off scraps. There's games. There's nothing much for me. This one ball might come in that's decent, and I have to get on the end of that. Like for the balls that they were putting in Madrid yesterday, Mbappe is either the one putting the ball in, or he's nowhere near the center. So you know, the penalty spot fighting for. There was no one to contest. Raya had the best day of his life, doing what he does best: come, catch, claim, come down. And but yeah, like to move to the Arsenal side, I just think that from an Arsenal perspective, bro, like. I said no matter what happens, if we go through, everything that happened in the home leg becomes 100 times better because we've ultimately, won the tie. But I think, I don't know, it's not better than the home leg, but I think this one might actually be more enjoyable for me personally because we've really just won a football match, a Champions League quarterfinal at the Bernabeu on a 90-something minute Martinelli dagger through on goal.
Speak on it. Martinelli.
Like,
Rise.
Hear that?
Who's the best Brazilian winger on the pitch?
No, but literally hear that sentence. Arsenal have beaten Real Madrid. Yeah, in the Champions League quarterfinal because Martinelli's been put through in the 90th minute, and he's slowed it past the keeper.
Great finish.
As fans go
didn't
wild.
Didn't even need to squirm it past Couto.
And like, if we had drawn the game, we still would have gone through and felt happy. But that whole you're speaking about dog. That whole I want to win this game, the mentality of the team, of the players, but it was such a good night, man. From all the performances that we should get into, like, I guess starting from the back.
Well, quickly, that goal, because like Martinelli, he's run 70 yards or whatever. He's played the whole game.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, this is the 95. Frank Garcia,
come on,
played less than 10 minutes. And Martinelli's made him look like he's running backwards. And then the composure to go and bury that, the celebration, everything, it was brilliant. But yeah, go on.
I was also going to say, that's why Arteta will probably never sell Martinelli.
Yeah.
Like,
Martinelli's work rate across these two legs.
I think for that region alone, like, I admit, we all know that we need a better winger than Martinelli come next season, starting for us. But I think the whole Martinelli's a team player. Martinelli will run 70, 80, 90 yards in the 100th minute if the team needs him to.
Yeah.
Is why I think there's a lot of guys that Arteta would probably give up before he gives up Martinelli.
Yeah, 100%.
Because of that specific sort of trait he has in his ability to work for the team. Put the team above himself, work for the team. Yeah. If you need me to be left wing back, I'm left wing back.
An invaluable squad player.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I just overall the performances that as we spoke about, you did the Madrid side of things and how pretty much they didn't really break us down. They didn't really go through us, man. But I was also on the Saliba Kiwior partnership. I was thinking, I was like, obviously Kiwior comes away today with a lot of like immense credit from everyone, even us who've been Kiwior guys.
Yep.
I didn't necessarily see that performance yesterday.
I was surprised by it.
Yes, zero mistakes.
I'd been telling you Kiwior will chalk one up, and I'm a Kiwior guy.
Like every crunch time header Kiwior's there, bro. There was one tackle he had on Vinny.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
In a transition in the second half.
That was so good. We were 2v2. The situation you didn't want.
Exactly.
Running towards
Kiwior will
just
none of that.
Stop that.
I see ball, I go for ball.
Farmer Jakob.
Yo. But Kiwior has been brilliant. Everyone's counting him out. There isn't going to be enough love for Kiwior. There isn't. It's not possible because of how much the hate and disrespect was.
Yeah.
It won't be as loud as the love, Nick. Yeah? Shout him out. But what this game did tell me, despite Saliba's mistake, was how well and truly we have two A-side centre-backs. And you've said it for a long time. You've said they're both A-side centre-backs. They're both...
3.
Stop.
Well, you said 2. I was thinking, well, Kiwior was one of them.
Stop. But like...
Yeah.
We, like, you've said it for a long time, how we have literally, it's like 1A and 1A. Yeah. And like, I've always agreed with that and everything, but this game, those 2 games from Saliba sort of being the main man without Gabriel, and not even, because on possession, we know what Saliba's like, and obviously he gave away the goal in this game, but overall, in totality, over 180 minutes, Saliba, it seems like he's at the level where he can hold anyone's hand.
Yeah.
And like in any other team, Saliba is literally the A-side centre-back. He's who it's built off of. Van Dijk has never really had a partner as good as Van Dijk. He's always held a lot of guys. And Matip and these guys are no scrubs. You know, Matip's a serious footballer.
Early Joe Gomez.
Yeah. He was also semi-decent, you know. But Saliba is an A-side centre-back of that ilk. And also so is Gabriel.
Yeah, agreed.
He's also an A-side centre-back for any team. If any guy was buying Gabriel, it's to be the cornerstone of his defense for the next. If any guy's buying Saliba, it's to be the cornerstone. It's not to make somebody else look good.
Yeah,
it's to be the best guy.
The only blemish was the mistake, which was a bit annoying. But
I don't even understand the blame on Raya's side.
Guys, I don't know why guys are talking about.
Guys are saying it's a 50-50. I heard someone say 70 Raya, 30% Saliba.
But this is Saliba's PR. Like, I've known about Saliba's PR.
I'm
like Saliba. It's been like Odegaard. They'll just never blame Saliba.
I'm like, bro, Raya. We pass out from the back all the time. That's our mandate. That's why we brought Raya in.
Guys will do the absolute most
to make sure it wasn't Saliba.
Do not blame Saliba. And we've seen that with Gabriel. How many times has Gabriel had to hold stick for some Saliba mess up?
Arsenal defense
I stopped fighting it, man. I'm not going to win that
defense
battle.
Look shaky, but it's just Saliba.
Yeah. Saliba's made a mistake here, but somehow everyone's talking about Gabriel at the end of the game.
I've just given him to Saliba his flowers. He's an A-side centre back, no doubt. Yeah, but that was on him.
Yeah,
like,
but there's a moment in the first half when Mbappe tries to go past him, and Saliba obviously remembers he's seen that in Bondi.
He was
the suburbs of Bondi. Right. So Saliba ushers him out. But the one in the second half, I think, is even better. The challenge on Vinny. When Vinny's breaking away and Saliba slides across and makes the block. I agree. Flawless across the 2 legs, other than that one mistake.
And it's the same for the fullbacks.
Yeah, the fullbacks. We did it. I mean, they had a segment on last week's one. They have to have another segment today. Yuri Timber and Miles Lewis-Skelly. Miles Lewis-Skelly. I don't know, man.
Bro.
That, like,
on this, remember Liverpool at home? We finished the game with Lewis-Skelly, Kiwior. Salah comes in, Salah jing bang. Diaz, whoever it was, gets the goal at the... Salah gets the goal, yeah?
It was Nunez and Salah.
Yeah. The 1-2 step. Well, can you imagine if someone had told you from that moment...
Yeah, those two.
Would start, do 180 minutes versus Real Madrid in a quarter-final, and Saliba would be the reason that we only conceded 1 goal. For
that park probably.
but yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like the Kivior Skelly thing, Skelly, the emergence, the development of Skelly over 15 games, 20 games. That's like 20, 30 games ago.
We were saying before the tie that like it's calm to play Lewis Skelly because in the home game, I actually said I'd play Calafiori or whatever in the away game because I just thought Bernabeu, whatever. We were like, it's calm to play him in the home game because he's next to Gabriel. There's a physical monster here. There's a physical monster in Declan Rice. There's a physical monster in Thomas Partey. There's a physical monster in Martinelli. I think we have to start calling him that. How much he's going to help him. So you can play him. Then Gabriel goes down and now Kiwior's come in. But Miles Skelly looks like... I don't know what to say, man. I
actually don't know what to say.
I saw someone say, and it's a good point, like... And I'm probably guilty of this as well. We talk about Lamine Yamal, and we say for his age, this is amazing, and for his age, what he's doing is incredible. It's just we should actually just forget about it. Just if Lamine Yamal was 26, this would still be
nuts,
right? I think Miles Lewis Skelly is
in that bracket. I still think,
obviously, I'm not saying he's Lamine.
No, I know what you mean, but in terms of
but maybe we should just stop saying for an 18-year-old because even if a 24, 25, the commentator said it looks like Miles Lewis Skelly's played 300 games.
No, but I can agree to put to bed the for his age thing because obviously that doesn't matter. He's at the level.
Yeah,
but I can't put to bed the for his experience thing.
Yeah.
Like for his experience in football, to come and do that in both legs, at home and away, in such a high pressure game, all or nothing for our season, everybody's counted us out type stuff. But it's as you say, there's no words, man. It's phenomenal, and even like the off the football stuff, the PR turnaround on Lewis Skelly, it's great. And
so somebody in Lewis Skelly's team, his agent or something, has told him they're going to start doing interviews because Lewis Skelly does every interview.
They can't.
It's always him and Declan.
It's not enough
every week.
And then obviously Timber on the other side, man. Timber is just so solid. That image of Timber just being a 7 or 8 or 9 out of 10 every week is so certy.
And bro, like we'll talk about Timber a bit more, but we're talking about age here. Timber's 23.
I was gonna say, I was actually gonna make the point that Kivior was our oldest defender.
Yeah, Kivior, I didn't even know that.
How crazy is that of that back four?
Yeah,
Kivior's uncle. It's Uncle Kivior.
And he's got to be, what, 25?
Yeah.
He can't be more. There's no way Farmer Jakob's older than 25.
Kivior's probably 26, max.
Yeah, max.
Yeah.
Max.
But he's uncle.
Yeah.
To Skelly. Yeah. He's uncle to Timber. Yeah. He's uncle to Saliba. And he's the guy that everyone was worried about. The young dogs are the ones who are holding his hand. Uncle, you're right. Is this scenario?
I don't know if we can say hold hand. I think go home to your families. We need some respect.
It's nuts, bro.
But yeah, Timber being 23. I said from like when we were 8 games in the season.
Timber's 23. He just carries himself like
guys are saying Skelly's not 18.
He carries himself like he's a 30-year-old man.
You had said I need to check his passport.
I was also just before you get into Timber, I was dying at people like fiending for the Timber Bible verse. Yeah, people are so where's the Bible verse? Timber need the Bible verse immediately. Timber comes Joshua 1:5.
yeah. Or even TNT put it up. Right? But I said this after about 8 games. We were talking about Ben White and Ben White potentially coming back into this team, and is he still Arsenal's best right back and whatever. And I remember saying to you, I was like, the problem for Ben White, is that if, let's say, for example, there's more than this, but let's say, for example, there's 5 things that you have to be good at as a right back. Yeah. There's more than that, but let's just say there's 5. Ben White does 4 of them to an 8 out of 10. And the 5th one he does to a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
Timber does all 5 to a 9. So the technical ability, the inverting, the overlaps, the 1v1s, the crossing ability, the IQ, the
aggression in defense, whatever.
Switched on at the back post.
Yeah.
He does them all to a 9 out of 10.
And
I can't expect Ben White to, if he does all 4 of those to an 8 out of 10, and then this one is a 6 out, that's cool.
Even down to the fact that he can just play both sides seamlessly.
Yeah.
Timber started the season as a left back, and now
that's the Ajax upbringing and total football.
We were here at the start of the season, and I think like if you was to go back and listen to a random pod in the first couple months of the season, we would have been waxing lyrical about how good the left back Timber is. How good the left back Timber is. How good the left back Timber is. What he brings us from the left back position.
100%. Remember Leon Bailey game?
Second
game of the season.
Yeah. And now we're saying for real, how's this all going to work next season? Because Timber has to play, right?
Yeah.
you know, and
not just left back, bro. We've seen him play centre back.
yeah, ahead of Ben White.
Yeah.
As well.
Look, you remember at the start of the season, you were saying I think Timber can play in midfield, and I was like, yeah, I agree.
I was saying Ange doesn't have this.
I think he can play 6'8" or 10.
He doesn't have the solution to that.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of 6'8" 10s, well, actually, we should.
Yeah.
We should.
We'll come to that.
We'll come to that.
Timber, for what he's done on Vinny across 180 minutes, I can't speak highly enough of that. We've just agreed here that Vinny's the best left winger in the world, and Timber made him look like,
literally.
I don't know who did he make him look. Dwight McNeil.
And
Dwight McNeil's all right.
Dwight McNeil's all right.
He's all right.
Exactly.
But that's what he made him look like.
Can pose a threat, but not today.
Exactly.
But
Somebody
not today.
who's all right, but just not at the level.
Yeah. Maybe next week.
Yeah. Maybe on the weekend when you can come up against Nico Williams.
Valadid.
Yeah. Or Nelson Semedo or someone, yeah. So shout out both of them. And yeah, I think I know where you were going. 6 upside down.
6 upside down. It's a 9 now. You know, the fact that Marino was involved.
Just to preface this conversation, and then I'll let you go. So I heard someone say if Arsenal had signed Mikel Merino
as a striker
in January,
plucked him out of nowhere,
and he'd come in and done what he's done,
statue,
he'd be one of the all-time great January signings.
Seriously, no doubt. I thought it was interesting that Mikel Merino was involved in all 3 of our open play goals.
Yeah, and he won a penalty that was missed. So the way Merino sells that, Asensio.
I also just can't get over the Merino Arteta telepathy. I just can't get over how it almost seems like down to every step Merino carries out Arteta's game plan.
Well, the more I watch Merino, the more I can kind of see Arteta. I used to watch Arteta when he was in the Arsenal shirt.
Marino, and for Saka's goal, which is crazy that we haven't actually spoken about that.
Yeah, we'll come to that.
But for Saka's goal, the winning of the first ball, that's what Havertz does.
Yeah, the flick on. Yeah. It's top stop.
I'm going to win the flick on. We haven't been up the pitch for a while. It's been a bit of a minute. Yeah. Long ball, flick on from Marino. Saka can get on the end of that.
Like Havertz has the flick on. This is a pass. It's not a flick on. It's a pass from Marino.
He checks his shoulder. He sees the space.
Saka's going,
flick.
Seatbelt.
Have one to that one. Have that one. Obviously, I will actually give Odegaard his credit in this sequence. Odegaard orchestrates it.
Yeah, and that's about it.
Yeah,
we'll move on from that.
Moves guys along. Yeah. But then the ball from Marino, and I love how Marino,
It's so good.
I love how Marino, it's like, I just slide on this and do this quickly. You know, one time, one turn, everything's one motion. The touch, the turn, the pass is all in one.
This, yeah, but you know the word you're looking for? Pausa. The pausa from Marino.
It's all in one motion. Touch, turn,
the
pass.
The best thing, about both of them, really, the assist from Martinelli as well, but Saka's one more so, is that Marino's played that ball and he's told you, don't break stride, don't change your run, don't slow down, don't decelerate, don't do nothing. Just do exactly what you're going to do, run exactly how you're going to run. And this ball, the Saka one seems to stop.
Yeah,
for him to then chip. So Martinelli one, he's waited for Martinelli to get to the halfway line. Martinelli's this close to being offside.
I'll play that one.
Now I'll play it. I'll take 2-3 touches, wait for you to get there, and then I'll play it. That's just my Spanish midfielder.
It's literally the definition of a Spanish midfielder. All credit to Arteta for signing him, but this up top shift and even the whole Marino Madrid killer thing, it should really just be a joke. It should just be a joke.
We have the hustle. That should have been a joke.
Exactly.
That should have been.
That should have been the joke. But the fact that it's played out how it's played out in front of us, and now he's a serious option moving forward. And again, obviously, the finish in the first leg is ridiculous. But to back
guys
that up
are
with
saying
2 assists,
Arsenal don't need to sign a striker into something.
Marino's enough.
Marino Havertz.
I do, and this is for another pod for another day. But I'm still a big Havertz guy. I'm still Havertz in.
Yeah. But we'll have that conversation.
For another day. But with every performance I see from Marino, I'm like, how much do I want to move? How much do I want to move this backwards?
You know what I'm saying?
And how far back do I move this? This might just need to stay.
This is now a 6-8-10-9 hybrid, not just a 6-8-10. This is Arteta's transformed this guy into a monster. I actually tried to find the running stats last night for this pod because Mikel Merino must have run 15K last night. It's fucking nuts, bro.
He's done a half marathon.
The amount of pressing and running, and I'll come back, and then I'm seeing Merino is the deepest line in midfield, and nothing but praise for Mikel Merino. Unbelievable over 2 legs. He's getting his plaudits, rightfully so. Guys are saying he stepped up in 2025. Like I said, if we had signed him in January as a striker,
yeah,
what guys would have been saying about him.
Yeah.
Look, you mentioned Saka. He obviously misses the penalty.
What did you think in that moment? Seriously,
that's my son. So no bad words.
Yeah,
no.
I was on the floor.
I don't actually care that you've Panenka it. You're my son. I love you always.
I was on the floor. Like I was at home. I was screaming because I actually thought it had gone in.
I just kind of erased it. Like
I could not believe. And as you say, Saka's is my son as well.
Yeah,
he's our son.
He's all of us.
So it wasn't like it's coming from a place of hate or it's coming from a place of like anything.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so
the remontada. That's where it starts.
No, not even that. I just thought it was so like I've never seen Saka on this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Laissez-faire.
Like not even laissez-faire. Like I don't know what the word is.
Arrogant?
Not arrogant. Maybe. There's an element of arrogance in it for sure. But like, I know why he's done it. Because if Saka does score a Panenka penalty at the Bernabeu to kill the tie, it's to the moon and back, that prop.
Yeah.
But I've never seen...
But we're not expecting Saka to think that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting Saka to sort of beyond the like... achieve
the picture,
or like not
even.
Even
guys are saying, and I do think there is some truth for this, that question about Mbappe and Vinny and all you
got to him.
Yeah.
So that's my point. Is I think that can get to him, and Saka would beat them the right way.
Yeah.
He would
the first game.
He would play exactly.
Yeah.
He would play the pass if it needs to be played. He'll take the shot if it needs to be taken. He would just do everything the right way. That was a little like. Almost like an F. It was going to be an FU to journalists, media, fans, all this kind of stuff. And I never really thought Saka fought like that.
And Carvajal
in those moments.
Told him.
Yeah. I hate that, but also respect that from Carvajal
because that's Madrid territory.
And that's what all he's trying to do is rattle Saka, get in his head. Yeah. That's what he's trying to do. But yeah, it was just in that moment I really couldn't believe it, and I wasn't necessarily like pissed that he missed it because I didn't think it was a penalty in the first place. But then when Madrid got their penalty, I was like, "Oh, this is where it starts."
That's the ref decision we were talking about. That's the corruption. That's the brown
right
envelope
here.
From Flo Perez.
This right here is where it starts. And I was gonna say it's gonna be super tough for me to defend Saka if Mbappe just puts this top corner in. I was thinking it could be 3-3 before halftime when the ref blew the whistle and pointed at the spot, and it made it worse because at first they took some time, and then Mbappe grabbed the ball and he stood at the spot as if to like hurry things up, and like the brown envelopes. Don't worry, they're on their way.
Is that Mbappe telling the ref, "What are you checking this for?"
Yeah, exactly.
The money's already in your account.
That's when I was like, "Oh, this."
But that was never a pen.
It was never a pen. It was never a pen. But that was when I was like, "Oh, this is going to get long for Arsenal and for Saka because these next however many minutes."
But you know what? And look, it's hindsight. You guys can choose whether you want to believe me or not, but. I'd like, even after he missed the pen, I just still thought that Saka's gonna do something.
I knew,
he always does.
And
right?
I agree with you.
He always.
I didn't think I knew as soon as he missed the penalty that there would be a goal for Saka in this game.
Yeah, maybe not even a goal, but I was very comfortable knowing Saka will create a chance that we should score from. Yeah, and if we don't, then
no, and I okay, maybe it's tough to say. I knew maybe that's easier to say in hindsight. But
to be fair, after in the first however many minutes when he cuts inside,
he was on it. Even he had a right foot shot in the half, and I was like, that's close. That's not that far. That one is pretty close.
But I knew that Saka would have some level of influence in this game. He'd put one on a plate for someone. He'd do something.
Yeah. He's at the level. Right? I mean, that's the thing. I think that's the best thing for me as an Arsenal fan and as a Saka lover is like. And obviously, Saka still needs to win the trophies, but it's good to see Saka get now a lot more unanimous recognition, even without the trophies, because I do think his game is that good.
Everybody calling him England's best player.
Yeah,
everybody unanimous.
And I am a like I don't live and die by trophies, But in football, I do think a lot of it is about winning stuff.
yeah,
there's more to win in football than in other sports as well. So I don't need Saka to win a trophy to know how good of a player Saka is, because I watch him week in, week out. But it's good to see that Saka is sort of getting that recognition now. And like, there's a lot of people who put barriers on Saka or a ceiling on Saka, like he's only going to be this player or he's only going to be this player. And like now, 3-4 years later, every time someone says he's only going to be this player, he breaks through that barrier. He does it again. And now I feel like we're getting to the point where, and now everyone's like, oh yeah, well, Saka's he's good. Saka's...
And to speak on the penalty, the mentality thing, all of that, away from the penalty, these 180 minutes, I can tell just as a fan that question got to him. like Saka was going to do what Saka does, right? Because that's who he is, yeah. But he came with like a different sort of vim, like you say, with the pen.
Yeah. Even the chip finish.
Yeah.
How much is that in his catalogue?
And there was very much Saka in interviews afterwards. I knew I was going to come here and score today.
Yeah.
Like in your house, on your pitch, these guys are telling me that you, Vinny, Mbappe,
or levels to me
are the standard.
What are you going to do to get to that level?
For 180 minutes, I'll be the best attacker on the pitch. And I respect that so
It's so
massively.
good.
It's so good, so great.
And he's still only a 70-minute player due to like fitness and everything.
Yeah, minutes restrictions.
Yeah, he's on minutes restrictions.
Yeah. He's doing the LeBron thing of like he doesn't want the minutes restrictions.
I could literally wax lyrical about Saka all night, but I echo what you say. Like,
an unbelievable finish, and we're talking about guys getting unanimous recognition. The last guy I think we should talk about, Declan Rice. Unbelievable performance yesterday. We said that if you took the free kicks away in the first game, Thomas Partey was probably our best midfielder or the best midfielder on the pitch.
I still had Rice though.
Yeah. For me, I think if you take the free kicks away, I think the free kicks do a lot. Yeah, obviously with the free kicks, Rice is the best. But I think TP5 was flawless in that game. Didn't misplace a pass. But that game yesterday in the Bernabeu, it was
a different level.
Yeah. It was like, and I've said this. I've been a big advocate of like, you can't win major things without a player like Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to the big games, there's just monster class.
I don't think we've lost a big 6 games since he's come in.
Yeah. That might have been when the record started, to be fair.
Seriously.
It's just monster class after monster class after monster class in every Big 6 game, every Champions League quarterfinal, whatever it is. And the ground he covered yesterday, the defensive work, the attacking work, it was just, it was a special performance.
It was literally putting himself on the world stage of central midfielders.
And we're talking about Saka and the forwards on the pitch. I think Rice had that a bit with Bellingham.
Yeah, 100%. Not just Bellingham, bro. Like Tchouaméni and Camavinga, obviously, like been described as generational talents at points in their career. Tchouaméni went for 60 mil. Camavinga went for like 40.
And guys will just say Tchouaméni's better than Rice. They will just throw that out there. And I rate Tchouaméni.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't think he's better than Rice.
I also think, like in the totality of things, Rice is so good because on the European stage he brings such an element of English football in midfield that I don't think many other European teams can genuinely cope with. Like, I don't think Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Modric can cope with a guy who's willing to run.
Even Fede, like I was expecting like big things from Fede, and Fede, I mean, you can make a case he might have been Real Madrid's best player first and second game, whatever. But I was expecting Fede, especially this second game. Now he's moved into midfield and Tchouaméni's in there, that this is going to be a much tougher battle. But Rice just seemed to.
I just don't think that they've seen athleticism or like a athlete that willing to almost be a basketball player and run up and down as much as Rice is willing to run up and down.
Yeah. They are. I don't think they've seen that, but I think Fede has that.
No, Fede does have that.
But then I was like, but why is Rice just completely overrunning you? I was like, maybe
is he just a better athlete?
Exactly. Maybe the level I've seen Fede do it at when he does it La Liga and Copa America and qualifiers and stuff. Maybe
he's the best athlete on the pitch on those days.
You know what I'm saying?
But today,
maybe there is a
better athlete.
When Rice has to go up against Rodgers and these
Joe
guys
Linton.
week in, week out, Joe Linton, Tonali, week in, week out. Maybe there's a a difference here.
Well, the only way to really prove that is to see those guys go up against Fede.
Yeah.
And obviously that will come next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Newcastle, when these guys are in there, and
that'll be a great game.
If I see Joe Linton crash, bang, wallop, up and down.
But there's tax on that because that's Brazilian. So Fede will up it. This English guy, Fede doesn't really
but
care.
I completely agree. I think even including Fede, I don't think Fede's seen a guy as willing as himself to eat up ground, or as capable as himself to eat up ground and have that not affect him. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be there. I'm going to win this ball high up the pitch. I'm going to carry it. I'm going to pass it.
Yep.
Like, there was a lot of quality, a lot of generational talent on the pitch. And, Rice stood head and shoulders above everybody in midfield in the engine room. He was the main conductor. It's serious kudos to Rice. I've been bigging up Rice all day, so I'm even kind of tired of it. But like, I'm not tired. That's the wrong term. But like, it's so obvious now.
You said your piece.
There's a million guys.
Agreed.
There's a million guys who was on to me this season about Caicedo and about this guy and about what Rice can't do. And these two performances are just
back-to-back man of the matches.
It's just so laughable at people who still are trying to weasel their way to try and find a reason to say that he's not had a brilliant game.
To say Disasi's a better signing. I'm on. Still trying to stick by that one. Look, the only negative from the game was obviously Thomas Partey picks up a yellow. Yeah. Thomas Partey played well again. So I don't have too much to say on that. But he will miss the first game against PSG, who did beat Aston Villa. We'll talk about this game for a bit because it was a good game. It was a very good game.
I told you though that Villa can 100% make it tough, but PSG will go through. And I knew it was going to be a tough game, and ultimately PSG.
Yeah, but I don't know about 100%.
I just knew 100% PSG were going to go through,
and that's what I said about Inter.
Yeah, well, Bayern made it as tough as they can, and I agreed that Inter will go through, but Bayern can score, and Bayern are going to make it a little. But these two teams are going to go through.
Yeah,
and it was good.
Oh man, that PSG game, they were there. Skinner.
No, they were there. It was kind of funny.
The Matson chance blocked off the line.
It was kind of funny from Emery because guys were killing Emery for starting Rashford over Watkins.
Yeah,
and the guys were killing Emery for subbing off Rashford.
But that was a mistake
for Watkins.
That was a mistake. Subbing Rashford off.
I agree. Rashford was balling, and Rashford got them back into the game
because guys, Rashford had his foot on PSG next.
I think Emery just had his game plan in his mind already. Like, when the game needs a little more, I'll bring on Watkins and I'll do this and I'll do that. But from the PSG perspective, they have got through a tricky customer. Like, Villa did very, very, very well, took the game to them, and they were 100% in the tie. And I like the fact that there was a mini capitulation from PSG.
Yeah.
With those 2 goals in 3 to 5 minutes. Like, it should have been a tie that was over and done with. They scored the first goal.
Yeah.
You know,
on
the day.
By the way, your 2 fullbacks scoring those 2 goals. Okay.
Serious.
The Nuno Mendes one?
I think I wanted to say, when you mentioned managers earlier, how I give Enrique so much credit because he's kind of like part of the old guard. He's sort of in between, but he's kind of part of the old guard. But he can definitely rumble with all of these new managers and all these new dogs. And he's not that old. He's like mid-50s.
Yeah, and he's got pedigree, right? He's won.
But that's what I'm saying. He's kind of part of the old guard that he's been managing from way back when.
Yeah.
You know, when Arteta and Flick and all these guys, are kind of like, they've only been doing this for 5 years or whatever it is. But I think obviously it's a whole different PSG side and all this kind of stuff. But I like the fact that
do you like, how much do you buy into that?
I'm not buying into that 100%.
It's a whole different side.
Because and I was gonna say, PSG got through on the very last day of the group stage games. Yeah. Of the very last day. Yeah. And now it's unanimous that they're the best team in the tournament. Yeah. Unanimous. And I'm not saying that Arsenal are the best team.
Guys were saying even if Real Madrid beat Arsenal, PSG will beat them.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm not here to say that Arsenal are the best team. I can even hear that Arsenal were a better team than PSG. They've played very, very well to get to where they are.
Yeah.
But I'm not flipping 100% from a team that scraped through on the last day. We were all willing to clown them and say that you can't buy a Champions League and all this kind of stuff. So now, like, you're just the best team.
Do you remember that Man City game when they were 2-0 down?
Yeah,
the Emirates come back and they scored 4 goals. And
so
I don't buy that, man. They are a different team.
They are a different
They've
team
added
for sure.
Skelia,
yeah,
and they've obviously just grown a bit together. Doué seems to have hit a level. But I don't know when those guys come and now it's Timber and it's.
But that's why I'm so happy Rice didn't get a yellow as opposed to Partey. If someone had to get a yellow, probably needed to be Partey or Martinelli.
Partey will be a big miss though.
It will be a massive miss.
But I agree.
You
can't lose Declan Rice.
And I think it will be similar to the Madrid thing of like PSG will be a tough tie. Madrid, even though we won 5-1, was still a tough tie because of anything can happen with those kind of players. Anything can happen with Dembele and Doué and Kvaratskhelia. But if they're going to come out and attack and power men forward and maybe get a little bit sloppy, like not everyone's doing their due diligence, tracking back and stuff, then that's where we thrive. That's what we do well. So it's going to be another great tie.
Yeah.
I think if we win the home leg, we would have done just enough to get us to a final, because I think when Partey's back and like it will be a similar PSG like Real Madrid thing of like Madrid PSG have to come forward and we've got the guys on the break. But it all comes down to winning the home leg.
And I'm expecting us to win the home leg.
And if we do, I
because I'm not buying into this PSG are the best team left, and personally I think the most dangerous team left are Inter.
Yeah.
And if Arsenal do get to the final, I really need Barcelona.
And this might be a crazy statement to say because they are a big team in that, but it's different to the Madrid thing as well because the pedigree was just so different. We'd never won it. They've won it 15 times. Yeah, PSG have never won it.
Yeah.
So like all of these demons and ghosts and everything, all of the 10-2s that Arsenal have suffered in games and Messi and Barcelona, all this stuff, PSG have just an equally as embarrassing Champions League history. And like if things get thick, if they find themselves 2-0 down at any point, those sliding doors can happen just as much.
The one thing I will say, in PSG's like favor is that I do feel like the Champions League is sometimes similar to the playoffs, where the NBA playoffs, where you have to lose in order to win. And you have to do your stint of losing before you get your chip right, with your team. And I feel like PSG have done that more than Arsenal.
Yeah.
Arsenal only got back in the Champions League last year. We obviously got knocked out of the quarterfinals. Like I said, I think we're a better team, but I do think there is an element of like, you need to have it's Pep with City.
No, look, I completely agree with that. They probably still do, just about have more Champions League pedigree than us, but I don't think the fear factor can be as much because ultimately we're both trying to do the same thing. We're both trying to get our hands on the first one, and we're not coming up against a team that's trying to get their hands on the 16th. Or their 7th, or their 8th, or their 3rd, or whatever it is. Like, as much as the history of your club has never been here, we've never been here. So it's a bit more of a level playing field. And this doesn't really matter on the day, because on the day it's just 11 players versus 11 players. But the pressure on us to win everybody, as you see Steve McManaman, this means nothing if you don't win it. This means absolutely nothing. Jamie Carragher has come out, if Arsenal don't win it now, everyone's trying to put pressure on us to win it. It's that exact same pressure has to be applied to PSG, because as good as the chances we have to win it, they have to win it. Yeah.
100%.
And it's going to make it real interesting.
And so that's the other semi-final is Inter Barca. Inter obviously going through. Before we go to MVPs and Rookies of the Week, I have to shout out Marcus Rashford.
But not before the MVPs. So not before.
Rashford he always gets his own segment. Always.
Not even a part of the MVP segment.
No, Rashford can have his own segment.
Because I see the star treatment.
That's my boy. But I'll ask you here now, and I might cut it out. But
no, I'm not taking Rashford. I'm not taking Rashford. I'm not taking Rashford.
He's been balling.
No. And it's not because Rashford's not been balling. It's not because Rashford's not been playing well.
Are you surprised that he's balling?
Semi, only because, as I said, the way United sold it to me for 18 months was that this guy has fallen out of love with football.
Rather play the goalkeeping coach.
Yeah, this guy, he's just nothing but like a cancer in the dressing room. He wants to be everywhere else but a football pitch. So in that sense, I'm surprised that there's no stories. There's not even a Rashford's gone to Ireland to go clubbing story.
Yeah. And how does this look on Amber?
There's not
what's going on with United or another one that got slapped on the weekend.
We're not hearing anything about a new girlfriend that Rashford's seen. All of
Love Island.
All of that stuff is now nothing. It's just football. It's just nothing about whether or not he's got a goal or assist or how well he's played.
Emery's decided this guy's a number 9.
Yeah.
How he's keeping Watkins out of the team? You touched on it. I don't know.
I said Watkins must be beefing Emery. Like for Watkins to do what he's been doing,
something must have happened. Like I still think Rashford. I think we agree Rashford's best position is off the left.
Yeah. So he's only 27 as well. It's not like Rashford's legs have gone and Rashford can't. And Rashford
can't. Both of them. Why does one have to hold bench? But yeah, look, shout out Rashford always. If that comes available in the summer, I might.
Wages got to come down. The reason I'm not on Rashford is because I actually think that we are at a point now where we can probably get a better winger than Rashford. And that's not on a talent level. It's just on a total package level.
Rodrigo.
And I seriously think
if Bournemouth are quoting 75 for Semenyo, you can get Rodrigo for that.
And I also seriously think that we'll speak about this more off air, but yeah, like it's not that it's a possibility to Arsenal, but it's a possibility that guy could be available. Yeah, that he could be part of the how do we get better.
Nico.
This is all different. I need Spo. I was terrible. I saw this wrong.
They've blown it up.
Yeah.
And we found the. But look, MVPs and rookies of the week. First couple MVPs. I've got Mikel Arteta. I've got John Morant. Just for the Selly. I love the
Selly alone.
That's it. That's why he's got the MVP for me. I love the Selly. And I've got Paddy the Baddie.
Yeah, Paddy will get a Volk. Volk's got to get an MVP from me. I'll give who else?
Jimmy.
I was literally just thinking about Jimmy and Steph, but they should beat Memphis, and I need to see what they're saying in the first round playoff series before I give them MVP.
But you did say that like playoff Jimmy's still here.
He is still here,
and
I'll give what was that tweet I sent you about?
You're not going to deny him of an MVP. Come on.
There was a tweet that was like, my mom asked me if the dishes were washed, and I said Jimmy Butler, so she knows that they're not washed. I was like, but yeah, no, Jimmy's done his thing for now, and also because he got banged up versus the Clippers, but now he's perfect and he's gonna get 38 points. It was he's hobbling, but no,
it was a nasty injury.
And I will actually just give an MVP to the NBA in general. But you've been holding me down. Like when Prem time comes around, like this weekend, now it's NBA weekend for me.
Big weekend.
Huge NBA weekend. So I'm looking forward to all of this Clippers, all of you guys who was balling on the final day.
We should actually do a pod where we like go through the bracket.
And who we think's and what we think's gonna I'm on that big time. Who else deserves an MVP? I think I'd give it to Barca, Lamine Yamal, and those guys. They did very well, man.
Yep. Girassi?
Inzaghi, Marcus Thuram, he played very well over both legs. Martinez scored both legs. Yep. Obviously, he deserves his love.
Yeah, shout out Lautaro for sure.
Rookies.
I've got Jude Bellingham.
Yeah. He was on some bullshit.
I've got Unai Emery.
First.
For the Rashford change. We speak about it a lot. The Emery fuck up.
Yeah.
He has that.
Yeah.
Rashford's on there. PSG don't know how to handle him. He's twisting up everybody.
I'll give Rudiger a rookie as well. Like Rudiger just tried it so hard. Ultimately, maybe he succeeded because Partey got yellow. But he tried so hard to like just be this cunt and like.
But you know what?
Wind guys up and
do you think the stamp on Skelly was on purpose?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Same.
I actually don't think it was on purpose. But I
because it's Rudiger. I have to question it a little bit.
Yeah, and I think he tried so hard to rile us up, and the only reason I'm really giving him a rookie is because it didn't really work. Like, no one really bit. Like, apart from Partey, who just lost his head in that moment. It was ridiculous, but like, no one, and Partey will get a rookie from me as well, actually. No one really bit, so it just looks like you're an arsehole running around, like, trying to bait everyone into fights.
That's why Bellingham's got one from me.
Yeah.
And I've got Harry Kane.
And I've got MVP, Milwaukee Bucks medical staff. Give give my boy Giannis a fighting chance in the East.
So you support Peds? No. Disclaimer. Allegedly.
I support quick recoveries.
Yeah. Historic. But no, I've got Harry Kane as a rookie. A lot of people will say I'm hating. He did score. Well done. But
and Stephen Manaman as well. He just lost his head, bro. Like his I hate when guys, especially maybe because it's Arsenal and obviously I support Arsenal, but I hate when guys have seen something spectacular and now they want to start the whole, it's only this, it's only that, it's only this, it's only that. Well, you probably chose Real Madrid to get past Arsenal, and now you're saying
it's like when guys are talking about the wall for Declan Rice's free kick. Like, come on, man. But no, I think Harry Kane scored, and fair play to him. It's a big game, Champions League quarterfinal. But you scored and you lost. You scored and you went out. So that's what you were doing at Tottenham.
Yeah,
you were scoring big goals and losing. So how that's not changed. Thomas Muller's playing 90 minutes. I'm seeing Thomas Muller get big chances. Eric Dyer also bagged, and Bayern, they're 6 points ahead of Leverkusen. I think there's 5 games to go.
Don't let it slip.
But look, I think that's all from us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. We will be back next week. Don't worry, Liverpool fans. I know you're probably getting on to us at the minute. We will come back. We will speak about you guys. We know that the title is basically wrapped up. And we'll talk about Tottenham and Ange. And there's European football going on right now with them and Man United. Onana's been in some stuff, buying this, all of that, Matic. So catch us next week. But thank you guys for listening. Subscribe to the channel if you got this far, and we'll see you next week.